Hello dear students. In this video I am going to discuss some multiple choice questions on the first PU topic. It is morphology of flowering plants. So let us go for the questions. So here is the first question. Nematophores are found in, the given options are the vegetation which is found in marshy and saline lake, the vegetation which is found in saline soil, xerophytic condition and hydrophytic condition. So what is the answer for this question? What are nematophores? The nematophores are also called respiratory roots, and they are completely opposite to the normal roots, because normal roots are positively geotropic. That means they grow towards the soil. But here the nematophores are negatively geotropic roots. That means they grow above the ground, towards the light, opposite to the soil they are growing, and they are specially produced for the purpose of respiration. And these nematophores are produced in halophytes. What are these halophytes? Halophytes are nothing but the plants which are growing in marshy and saline area. Marshy, water-logged area. In these area, usually the plants growing are called halophytes, and in halophytes, for the respiration purpose, apart from the normal roots, some additional roots are present having a negative geotropic character, and they are called nematophores. The example for the halophytes, Rhizophora, Avicennia. So both of them are showing the development of nematophores. So the right answer for this question is option A. The vegetation, that means group of the plants which is found in marshy and saline lake. If the water rich in the salinity, salt content of the water is high, in such area the growing plants are called halophytes, and in halophytes, for the purpose of respiration, the special roots are present. They are called nematophores. So moving to the next question. A branch in which each node bearing a rosette of leaves and a tuft of roots is found in aquatic plants like dash and dash. The given options are Hydrilla and Pistia, Eichhornia and Hydrilla, Pistia and Eichhornia, Pistia and Vallisneria. So all these examples which are given in the option are hydrophytic plants or hydrophytes. What are hydrophytes? The plants growing in aquatic habitat are called hydrophytes. What is the question given? A branch in which each node bearing a rosette of leaves, that means group of the leaves, and a tuft of roots. It is found in the examples like Pistia and Eichhornia. So here the image I have given, this is the diagram. This is the internodal region. This is the nodal region. At the nodal region, the group of the leaves are produced, and each rosette of the leaves has the tuft of roots. And this elongated internode is called offset, which is helping in vegetative propagation. So the offset, it is found in the aquatic plants like Pistia and Eichhornia. The nodal regions are having the group of the leaves with the tuft of the roots, and this offset is helping in vegetative propagation. So the answer for this one is option C. Then moving to the next question. Here, 3 questions you can see. The first one, root differs from stem in having nodes and internodes, multicellular hairs, axillary buds, unicellular hairs. The question given is, what is the difference between root and stem? How root differs from the stem? The answer is presence of unicellular root hairs. I am not getting the highlighter. Somewhere it is. Let me check where it is. Yes, I got here. The presence of unicellular root hairs, absence of nodes and internodes. Both root and stem are the parts of angiospermic plant body. The root arises from radical part of the embryo and stem arises from the plumule part of embryo. Both of them are present in the plant body itself, but the difference is that root contains unicellular root hairs and root is not characterized by the presence of nodes and internodes. Even roots are positively geotropic, negatively phototropic. Always roots are growing towards the soil except the nematophores. But stem, it is negatively geotropic and positively phototropic. These are also the differences, but with respect to the given question and options, the right option is unicellular hairs. Then coming to this question, prop roots of banyan tree are meant for respiration, absorption of water from the soil, providing support to a big tree, all of the above. The question is, what are prop roots? Whether these roots are arising from the radical or some other parts of the plant body. Prop root and stilt roots are adventitious roots because they are not arising from the radical. If the root is not arising from the radical, if it is developing from other than radical, they are called adventitious roots. And here prop roots are arising from stem branches and they are hanging down in the air. They provide support. The main function of prop roots is to provide support, mechanical support to the big tree. In case of ficus, the image I have drawn here, you can see the well developed prop roots which are providing mechanical support. Then coming to the next question, related to that only one more question is here. Stilt roots. What are these stilt roots? They are found in the monocots. And these stilt roots are arising from the nodal region of the stem, especially lower nodal region of the stem. They reach the soil, they protect the plant against the blowing wind. When wind blows very fastly, it may tilt the entire plant body, and protection against the wind is provided by stilt root. So, which is the example for having stilt root here? The stilt root is produced in case of sugar cane. In case of sugar cane, you can see the growth of stilt root. Then coming to the next question. Root hairs develop from, the given options are region of maturation, region of elongation, then region of meristematic activity and root cap. What are these regions? The root consists of 4 regions. They are the root cap, region of maturation, region of elongation and region of meristematic activity, where the meristematic cells, apical meristematic cells, they are continuously in the state of division, and cells, some old meristematic cells, they elongate and they attain the maturity. All these are present within the root. Then from these regions, exactly which region gives rise to the development of root hairs? The answer is root hairs are developing from the region of maturation. The region of maturation is the answer from where the root hairs are developing, and root hair region is also called filiferous zone. So the right answer for this question is option A. Then coming to the next question. Which of the following groups of plants have underground stem? Potato, ginger, turmeric, euphorbia and zamnicand. Potato, ginger, turmeric, zamnicand and colocasia. Potato, citrus, opuntia and zamnicand, colocasia. Potato, cucumber, watermelon, zamnicand and colocasia. So underground stem is found in all the options, or the terms given are correct in the B. So potato, ginger, zamnicand and colocasia, in all these plants you can see the underground stem. The zamnicand, so here I have mentioned K-I-N-G, it is K-A-N-D, sorry, it is nothing but Amorphophilus. It is commonly called zamnicand. Then next question. Floral formula of tomato, tobacco is, the two plants are given here, tomato and tobacco, but one floral formula is mentioned. Why? Because both of them are belonging to the same family. It is Solanaceae. So Solanaceae, what is the main character of Solanaceae? In Solanaceae, the epipetalous stamens are present. Epipetalous, attachment of stamen to the petal. The filament of the stamen is attached to the petal, which is the main character of Solanaceae. The petals are fused to form corolla tube. Petals as well as sepals. Sepals are also in the fused condition. Petals are also in the fused condition, and the stamens are attached to the petal. So where you can find this arrangement in the form of floral formula? It is option D. So what are the symbols? The symbols given in this floral formula explains. First symbol, it is actinomorphic. The flower is bisexual because the 0 with plus is female, with arrow is male. Both of them are mentioned. Therefore, it is bisexual. K for calyx. At the base of the K, the number 5 is given. That 5 is for the number of sepals. But 5 is given in the bracket. They are in the fused condition. Gamosepalous. C for corolla. Again 5 in the bracket. The corolla contains 5 petals which are in the fused condition. Gamopetalous. A for androecium. Number of stamens is again 5, but arrow mark is shown, or the link connection is shown from A to C. That means the stamens are attached to the petal. Gynoecium with 2 carpels. Again 2 is kept in the bracket. They are syncarpous in condition. The line is marked below. It indicates superior ovary. So these are the characters with respect to the flower of the family Solanaceae, to which both the tomato and tobacco are belonging. Then coming to the next one. Botanical name of cauliflower is. The cauliflower botanical name is Brassica oleracea var. Boitris. This var stands for variety. The variety, in short, it is represented as VAR. The scientific or botanical name of cauliflower is Brassica oleracea. Then coming to the next character. Which of the following statements is correct? The bulb of Allium cepa is modified stem. Close of Allium sativum are fleshy scaly leaves. Corm of Colocasia is modified root. Tendril in Vitis vinifera is modified axillary bud. So, which is the correct statement? Only option A is the right statement. Bulb of Allium cepa is modified stem. Here in Colocasia it is also modified stem. Here in this option also it is modified stem. Tendril in Vitis vinifera is modified axillary bud. It is not Vitis vinifera. It is in case of Passiflora. In Passiflora, the axillary bud gives rise to the formation of tendril. So the right answer for the question is option A. Then go for this question. A sterile stamen is known as. What is a sterile stamen? Sterile stamen is called staminode. Meaning of sterile, unable to reproduce. What is the function of stamen? Stamen is part of androecium, and stamen contains anther in which the male gametophyte called pollen grains are produced. But in case of sterile stamen, there is no production of pollen grain because staminode is sterile stamen. It resembles the normal stamen, but it does not contain the anther and does not produce the pollen grain. When anther is absent, there is no question of production of the pollen grains. Therefore, it is called sterile, and sterile stamen is called staminode. Then go for match the following. Gamocephalus. So Gamocephalus, which is the option? Again, the Gamocephalus means fused sepals. Gamo, it is fused condition. Then Polycephalus, it is free sepals. Gamopetalus, it is fused petals. Polypetalus, it is free petals. Epiphyllus, for E, this is flower lily. Epiphyllus. And staminode, the last option is sterile anther. So which one is the right answer? For A, it is 6th. For B, it is 4th. For C, it is 3rd. For D, it is 5th. For E, it is 1st. And for F, it is 2nd. Then the right option for the match the followings is option C. So this is the right option. Then moving to next question. Floral features are mainly used in angiosperms identification because flowers are of various colors. Flowers can be safely pressed. Reproductive parts are more stable and conservative than vegetative parts. Flowers are good materials for identification. Angiosperms are commonly called flowering plants, and flower features are used for the identification of the angiosperms because the flower is modified stem meant for sexual reproduction in the angiosperms, whose parts are more stable and conservative in comparison to the vegetative parts, so that the floral features are used in angiosperms for the purpose of identification. Then coming to the next character. Alburon layer helps in storage of food in endosperm, protection of embryo, utilization of stored food, all of the above. So where do you find the alburon layer? It is the part of monocot and occupied in monocot grain. Major part is occupied by the endosperm, and endosperm is the reserve food which is rich in starch. The endosperm is generally covered by 1 to 3 layers, and the peripheral protein layer of the endosperm is called alburon layer, and this layer separates endosperm with the embryo. And the main function of alburon layer is utilization of stored food. When embryo is growing, the stored food is properly utilized and it is helped by the alburon layer. Then coming to next character. Which of the following is not the characteristic feature of Fabaceae? Taproot system, compound leaves and raceme inflorescence, flowers actinomorphic, twisted estivation and gamopetalous, stamens 10, intros, basifixed dithecous, monocarpellary, ovary superior and bent stigma. Fabaceae, the subfamily of family Leguminosae. It is commonly called pea family, and the main character of Fabaceae is the particular arrangement, butterfly-like arrangement of the petals in the maxillary estivation. Total number of stamens are 10, but arranged in 2 bundles, 9 plus 1 arrangement. Stigma is bent like hook, ovary superior and monocarpellary. Of course, Fabaceae is a dicot, so it is having taproot system. But in Fabaceae, flowers are zygomorphic. Estivation is vexillary estivation. So, the character which is not showing the features of Fabaceae is option B. This is not related to the family Fabaceae. Then coming to the next one. Which one is not a stem modification? Ginger, rhizome of ginger, corm of colocasia, picture of nepenthes, tuber of potato. Among these, some are representing the modification of the stem. Only one is not representing stem modification. And which one is that? Rhizome of the ginger is underground modification of the stem. Corm of colocasia is also underground modification of stem. Potato tuber is also underground modification of the stem. Then which is the right answer? Option C is the answer. Picture of nepenthes. Picture plant. Nepenthes is insectivorous plant. It traps the insects to fulfill the requirement of nitrogen, and here the leaf is modified into picture like structure, so this is not showing any stem modification. So moving to the next question. The mature seeds of plants such as gram and peas possess no endosperm because these plants are not angiosperms. There is no double fertilization in them. Endosperm is not formed in them. Endosperm gets used up by the developing embryo during seed development. So which one is the correct reason? Mature seeds of the plants such as gram and peas. In both the seeds, the mature seeds are without endosperm, X albuminous or non-endospermic. What is the reason? Whether they are angiosperms or not, yes, they are belonging to the angiosperms, they are dicotyledons. There is no double fertilization in all the angiosperms. The double fertilization occurs, even endosperm is also formed. Then why the seeds at maturity are without endosperm? Because endosperm gets used up by the developing embryo during seed development. Once the embryo completely develops, it consumes the entire endosperm present in the seed. Therefore, at maturity, the seeds are without endosperm. Hence, they are X albuminous or non-endospermic seeds. Then coming to the next question. Ginger is an underground stem. It is distinguished from root because it lacks the chlorophyll, it stores the food, it has nodes and internodes, it has xylem and vessels. Ginger is underground stem. It is distinguished from root because, that means on what basis we can confirm that the ginger is underground modification of the stem. If you observe the ginger, clearly you can see the markings of nodes and internodes. Any structure which is having node and internode, it is of course a stem, whether it is modified or it is normal. The root is without node and internode, hence the ginger is underground. Modified stem, it can be distinguished from the root due to the presence of nodes and internodes. Then coming to the next character. Which of the following is modified stem for the protection of plants from browsing animals? Tendrils, thorn, rhizome, tuber. So the answer is thorn, because the thorns are stiff, sharp pointed woody projections which are developed on the stem or other parts of the plant, and it protects the plant from browsing animals. Tendrils help in the support. Rhizome and tuber are modified underground stem. They store the food as well as they help in vegetative propagation. Tendril for the support, then thorn, especially tendril for climbing. The climbers, they can climb by coiling around the support with the help of tendril, and thorn provide the protection against the browsing animals. Then, which of the following is the green expanded part of leaf within vein and veinlets? Sorry, which of the following is the green expanded part of the leaf with the vein and veinlets? Petiole is the stalk of leaf. At the nodal region, with the help of petiole, the leaf is attached. At the base, it is having a small outgrowth stipule. So, which is the answer? Lamina. Leaf lamina is the expanded green photosynthetic part. Its upper surface is called adaxial and its lower surface is called abaxial. So leaf lamina is the part containing vein and veinlets. Then next question. Which of the following is an example of pinnately compound leaf? The options are cucumber, papaya, cucurbita and neem. The pinnately compound leaves are having feather-like appearance. The segmentation of the leaf blade occurs towards the midrib, and among the given options, the right answer is neem. In case of neem, the pinnately compound leaves are present. Then moving to next question. A scar on the seed coat through which the developing seeds are attached to the fruit is called as testa, tegmen, micropyle, hilum. Testa and tegmen are the seed coats which are formed by the integuments once the ovule gets converted into seed as a result of fertilization. Because ovules are protected by the coverings called integuments, they are two in number, outer integument and inner integument, and these integuments they get transformed into seed coats as a result of fertilization. Then micropyle, it is a small opening which is left as the integuments are not joined with each other. Even this micropyle remains as it is even after the formation of seed, and through the micropyle itself the water enters into the seed. As a result, it supports the germination. So which one is the answer? The scar on the seed coat, this represents hilum. What is this hilum? It is the part where the junction between ovule and funiculus, it is showing hilum, and hilum represents the scar on the seed. Then, which of the following statements is or are correct about the calyx? Calyx is the outermost whorl of the flower and are called sepals. Sepals are green leaf-like structures and protect the flower in the bud condition. The calyx may be gamosepalous in the bracket sepals free or polysepalous in the bracket sepals united. So among these three sentences, only A and B are correct. So which one is the option? Option B is the right answer, because calyx is outermost whorl of the flower and the units of the calyx are called sepals. Usually sepals are green in color. They protect the flower when it is in bud condition. Sometimes when the petals of the flower are colorless or non-attractive, in that case the sepal may get attractive color. It is the modification of the sepal-like petal which is called petaloid sepal. Sepal is modified as petal to attract the insect so as to execute the pollination. It is called petaloid sepal, but it is modification of the sepal not found in all the flowers. Then next question. Which one of the following characteristics is not related to gynoecium? It is female reproductive part of the flower. It is composed of stamens. Stigma is usually at the tip of the style, and it is receptive surface for the pollen grains. Each ovary bears one or more ovules attached to a flattened cushion like placenta. So the characters about gynoecium are given in the form of option. So gynoecium is female reproductive part. Its individual units are called carpel or pistil. Stigma is located at the tip of the style and it is receptive surface for the pollen grains during pollination. Even it interacts with the pollen grain to confirm whether the pollen grain is compatible or incompatible. And inside the ovary, the ovules are present. Number of ovules will be varying. They are attached to wall of the ovary with the help of placenta. So only one wrong statement is here, and it is option B. It is composed of stamens. Stamens are the part of androecium. Androecium is male reproductive part and its individual units are called stamens. Except the option B, remaining are related to gynoecium. The only one character not related to the gynoecium is option B. So moving to next question. So in the image you can see the two diagrams representing inflorescence. They are marked as A and B. Here we have to identify what are the inflorescence shown by, or what is the inflorescence shown by A and B. So in case of A, if you go through the image, the younger flowers are located near the tip and older flowers are located towards the base, and still the tip is growing continuously. This character can be observed in the image A. So older flowers at the base, younger flowers at the tip, it is acropetal succession or acropetal arrangement of the flowers. Here the main axis is continues to grow because it is not ended with the flower. So this kind of inflorescence represents racemose inflorescence. In the B image, it is completely different. The main axis ended with the flower, that means it is not continuously growing, and it is terminated with the flower. The condition is different. This represents old flower and these are the younger flowers. Therefore, arrangement becomes basipetal manner. That means the older flower at the tip or apex and younger flower near the base, they are called, this arrangement is basipetal arrangement, and basipetal manner where the main axis, if it is terminated in a flower, this represents cymose inflorescence. So the correct option here, A represents racemose inflorescence and B represents cymose inflorescence. So these are the two types of inflorescence given with respect to the diagram. Then, so the question is with respect to estivation. Identify the different types of estivation A, B, C and D in corolla and select the correct option. What is estivation? It is the arrangement of petals, sepals or tepals. What is tepal? Individual unit of perianth. When calyx and corolla are not possible to differentiate, the unit is called the perianth and perianth individual units are called tepals. Individual unit of the calyx is sepal, individual unit of the corolla is petal, like that individual unit of the perianth is tepal. So estivation is applied for all these structures, but here the question is carrying the term corolla. In the question, corolla term is given, so better explain this with respect to the petals, because individual units of the petals are called individual unit of corolla is called petal. So look at the A. This is first unit, the second unit, third, fourth and fifth. All the units are just touching end to end, or in another words, the overlapping is completely absent. There is no overlapping. Overlapping is absent. The units, floral units, are touching end to end. So this kind of estivation is nothing but it is the valvate estivation. The valvate estivation, it may be sepal of calyx, petal of corolla or tepals of the perianth. Just they touch end to end without overlapping. The overlapping is completely absent, and such a type of the estivation is called valvate estivation. Then second one, twisted estivation. This is the part where half edge of this one is outside and half edge is inside. Here also half edge is outside and half edge is inside. For this also half outside and half inside, again half inside and half outside. That means every part, every unit, it is showing regular pattern of overlapping, and this kind of estivation is called twisted estivation. Then this one is interesting. Here look at this unit, both the edges are inside. Of this unit, both the edges are inside, and this unit, both the edges are outside. Then what about remaining three? These remaining three are showing half edge inside and half edge outside. One unit completely inside, one unit completely outside, remaining units half edge inside and half edge outside without any particular direction. The overlapping is not from any particular direction. That kind of the estivation is called imbricate estivation. Then the last one is vexillary estivation. It is a particular estivation observed in the family Fabaceae, where the flower shows, the petals show the particular vexillary estivation. One larger petal is present, it is called vexillum, completely outside. Two smaller petals are present, half edge inside and half edge outside, and the two completely smaller petals are inside. They represent keel petal. This is also called butterfly-like arrangement. The vexillary estivation is a particular flower character of the members belonging to the family Fabaceae, and the right answer for this question is option A. A is valvate estivation, B is twisted estivation, C is imbricate estivation, and D is vexillary estivation. Then coming to the next character, so it is with respect to the types of flowers based on the floral position on thalamus. Thalamus is the base of the flower on which all the floral parts are situated. Depending on floral parts on the thalamus, the flowers are classified into three types: hypogynous, epigynous, perigynous. In the given question, A represents which flower, B represents which flower, and C represents which flower, that we have to identify on the basis of diagram. So in the A, this is the ovary, the remaining parts are arising from the base of ovary. Sorry, from the, yes, base of the ovary. Hypo means below, gynous means gynoecium. From the base of gynoecium, if all the remaining parts of the flower are arising, it is nothing but hypogynous flower. And in the hypogynous flower, ovary is superior because remaining parts are arising from the base of the ovary. So here ovary is considered as superior ovary. Then here, this is the thalamus, and in this case the ovary is situated here. Look at the position of calyx, corolla and androecium. Where they are present? They are present on the sides. They are present on the side of ovary. So this flower represents, it is perigynous. Perigynous, where the ovary is half inferior. Half of the portion, it is inside the cup-like portion of the thalamus, and half can be seen outside. Therefore, ovary is said to be half inferior in case of perigynous flower. And here, the all remaining parts, ovary is completely located inside the thalamus cup, calyx, corolla, androecium. These parts are located above the ovary. So this flower represents epigynous, and in epigynous flower the ovary is inferior. So which one is the option for this? A is hypogynous, B is perigynous, and C is the epigynous flower. So A is the right answer. Then coming to the one more diagram based question. Identify the kind of phyllotaxy shown in the given figure A, B and C. What is phyllotaxy? The pattern of arrangement of leaves on the stem. In which pattern the leaves are arranged on the stem, it is called the phyllotaxy. So phyllotaxy, it is alternate, it is opposite and it is whorled. So which is the right answer for this one is A is the right option. Alternate, opposite and whorled phyllotaxy. So last question of the discussion. Which of the following statement is or are not correct? Calyx and corolla are reproductive organs of a flower. Zygomorphic flower can be divided into two equal radial halves in any radial plane. Flowers without bracts are termed as bracteate. Parthenocarpic fruit is formed after fertilization of the ovary. In legumes, seed is non-endospermic. Radical buds develop on the root. 6 statements are given. Among them, need to identify which are the wrong statements. Corolla and calyx are reproductive organs of the flower. No, they are accessory floral whorls. Androecium and gynoecium are the reproductive organs of a flower. Therefore, first statement is not correct. That means it is wrong. Zygomorphic flower can be divided into two equal radial halves in any radial plane. Zygomorphic flower can be divided into two equal halves only in one plane. That is nothing but in animals bilateral symmetry. Like that here zygomorphic flower. Flowers without bract are termed as bracteate. Again this is also wrong. Flowers without bracts are termed as ebracteate. That means without bract. Parthenocarpic fruit is formed after fertilization of the ovary. Parthenocarpic fruits are formed without fertilization. There is no necessity of fertilization. Parthenocarpic fruits are seedless because they are produced without fertilization. Hence, the fourth statement is also correct. Fourth statement is also not correct. In legumes, seed is non-endospermic because endosperm is completely consumed by the developing embryo. Therefore, in case of pea and gram or all the legumes, the seed is non-endospermic. Radical buds develop on the root. So, only these two sentences are correct. The non-correct statements or the wrong statements are: first statement is wrong, second statement is wrong, third is wrong, and even fourth is also wrong. So, which one is the option for this one? Option A is the right answer for the identification of wrong statements. Hope this discussion is clear for you. Thanks for watching the video. Thank you.